Do Something and Report It Home Energy Audit by Felix Again. Home background. I live in Centennial Hall in a single dorm, which is located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The average size of a single dorm is around 129 square feet. I started living around November of last year. The average one and two bedroom apartment uses around 20 to 30 kilowatt hours of electricity per day. Energy context. The United States' use of electricity has risen throughout the last 50 years and is only now starting to really drop off. Main culprits of usage remain residential, with the majority of the usage for space cooling and heating. Compared to the US, Minnesota has a lower carbon intensity, meaning Minnesota produces less CO2 per megawatt hour of electricity. Total annual U.S. electricity end use consumption increased in all but 11 years between 1950 and 2021, and 8 of those years were with year over year decreases occurring after 2007. Pretty much for the most part, our energy consumption has been going up, and that is not a good thing because our primary energy sources are non renewable sources. So, the goal of this audit is to create an incomplete home energy audit. In short, I want to find the electricity use of across 8 devices by measuring the wattage and calculating watt hours. I use this to find kilowatt hours per day and per month. Process. Step 1. Measuring. A majority of the devices I measured ran on constant power, with a few having phantom voltage. To measure the wattage, I plugged the kilowatt meter into the outlet, then plugged in each device. When on, I measured wattage for around 3 minutes, checking for a change in wattage. If there was a change, I marked it as variable. If not, it was constant power, and getting its watt hours per day just involved me taking the wattage and multiplying by the time the device was on per day. When off, I checked to see if there was any watts occurring. If so, I marked it as having phantom power, and the same process for watt hours per day on was used before the time off. 1.5. The mini fridge was one of the only variable power. So for that, how I did was the kilowatt meter was reading multiple watts, so that's how I knew it was variable power. So I plugged in the fridge at 8 a.m. into the kilowatt meter and measured it until the next day at 8 a.m. I then divided this number by 24 to get its kilowatt hours per day. Process step 2, time lock. I recorded times in a notebook, noting times devices were on and off. I then recorded on an Excel timesheet hours devices were on, and then average time on per day for each device, as you can see. All right, and these are microwave, all the other electronics besides the TV that I used. All right, now for our results. With both constant power devices and variable power devices, I added watt hours per day on with watt hours per day off to get total watt hours per day. With that, I could divide by 1,000 to get kilowatt hours and multiply by 30 to get kilowatt hours per month. The audit tells me that I use an average of 2.42 kilowatt hours per day and 73.9 kilowatt hours per month. Results. From what I got from my kilowatt meter, it matches pretty close to the average wattage found on the internet. My microwave was the only device that varied widely from the results of the internet. My first thought was the device couldn't read that high, but looking at the back of it, it says it should be able to measure a range of 0 to 2,000 watts. This may just have been an error on my part, but I don't know where it could have been, as I tried multiple different outlets and it all gave me the same thing. Analysis. I use a Surelec Energy Watt Meter to find the average kilowatt hours per month. This device seemed to read most of my device's wattage correctly, as my results don't fall far from research averages. Considering that the average kilowatt hour per month for a double sized single room in Minnesota is around 900 kilowatt hours per month, I must have not gotten the biggest energy users in my room. For my home energy audit to be complete, I would have to measure the energy uses of all my devices in my room, along with electricity associated with heating and cooling. Ain't nobody got time for that, so that's why I would like to thank David Schmidt personally. Now for a summary. My biggest wasters of energy were my fridge, my microwave, and my TV. Now, the best solution to the dilemma would just be throw away all three of these little energy sucking leeches. However, as I know I'm not going to be doing that as I use them way too much, the other option I could use is turning off the TV. The TV is something I know I leave on too much, especially while I'm not using it. It took the second highest for average time on. Only thing that beat it was LEDs, and considering I don't care about a measly 0.019 kilowatt hours per month, I will try to reduce the time I keep my TV on. Unplug the microwave. It actually kind of surprised me because I assumed devices didn't use power when off, but through this class, phantom power has really shocked me. I never knew just how much power a device can use while it's not even on. It makes me curious on what other devices are invisible leeches. Even through this, I found my total energy use to be lower than the average in Minnesota. Again, this may be due to the fact that it was not a complete energy audit. I really feel like if I measured more things in my room, I would get a lot closer to the average. But I also feel that for the most part, I don't have a lot of things always plugged in, and I usually make sure when I'm not using them to turn them off. Final thoughts. I feel there's a lot of value in conducting a home energy audit. You get to really see devices for what they are, and as electricity is the biggest cost in utilities, knowing effective ways of cutting down on your electricity consumption is really an underappreciated skill. And with that, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.